Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us. Welcome. We are super excited to have you. Please forgive the slight delay. Some human things were happening in the field, but we are here. We made it, and we're really, really excited to be here with you all. Thank you for those joining us live. Thank you for sharing your energy, and thank you to those who are here also on the replay. So, before we dive in to this event, to this 3-day event, a few logistics. First off, we'll be meeting again tomorrow at the same time, 10 a.m. Pacific. And then on Thursday, the 4th, if I'm not mistaken, at 1 p.m. So Pacific. And if you aren't able to make it live on either of those days, there will be replays. However, we obviously highly recommend you come and co-create with us in this space. Please feel free to use the chat and ask questions, share in there as we will be co-creating this with you all. And yes, our final day, that is on Thursday, there will be a Q&A that we're going to be doing. So if there are some questions that don't get answered during our first 2 days that we are diving in here, then please join us for the third session because we'll be diving into all of your guys' juicy questions. So, with that said, I will introduce myself to those who may not know me already. We have our joint communities here, Daniela and I. So, my name is Avea. I am a transformational mentor. I'm also an intuitive channel and a musical artist. And it is a joy, an honor to anytime I get to co-create with my life wife, Akashic bestie, Daniela Gill. We have co-created so much together at this point. And truly, anytime that we get to serve together, our fields amplify just to the nth degree. So it really is a pleasure to be here with you all. And on that note, I will let Daniela introduce herself and then we are going to dive right in.
I love you so much, Avea. Thank you. And I love all of you. It is so nice to be here with you. I'm so excited to see what comes through today for all of us. I'm Daniela. I'm a psychic intuitive channel, Akashic Records practitioner, and I'm also a plant medicine practitioner. I live in the Andes Mountains of Peru. Is there anything else you want to share, Avea?
Oh no, Boo. I was ready to to dive in if you want to take the lead. I was like, oh, she's taking the moment in. Um,
No, okay.
yeah, that
Let
sounds
me
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take a moment to tune in with all of you and feel into the fields, feel what wants to come through. I'm going to take a moment to open the Akashic Records. God, thank you for bringing us all together. Thank you for your perfect divine orchestration. I trust that whatever messages, insights, and messages that come through will be relevant for all who are here present here today. Thank you for speaking to us, for speaking through us, for allowing this space to be a space where we grow closer to you, closer to your ways, to the inherent divine possibility and potential that is so present within this life, to the love that is so present within this life. Thank you for being present in this experience today. as we open to living the life that we are meant for. Okay, I'm going to open the Akashic Records and then see what wants to come through. Spirit, support me in coming into an elevated, expanded state of consciousness so that I may be one with your perspective. Set aside the totality of my personality so that I may serve as a clear channel for your divine love, insight, and guidance. Allow me to see all who are present with us here today and all who are tuning into the replay as they are seen in the light of the Akashic Records. Help me to know and understand them as they are known and understood in the mind of God, and enable me to share your perspective and your guidance, Spirit, with all of your clarity and your love. And so it is. The Akashic Records are now open. So, as Avea and I were talking about our inspiration for sharing this 3-day transmission with all of you, we were sharing about how we would like for this transmission to serve as a permission slip for all of you, a permission slip to start living the life that you've always dreamed of, that you've desired, and start to dream big. Consider what it is you would like to experience in this life, how it is that you would like to feel, and then know yourself as not only one with the divine, you are an extension, you are an expression of the divine. God also lives through you, God acts through you. It is spirit that breathes your breath and makes your heart beat. It's spirit that animates you. And because it is spirit that animates you, there is always this divine creative potential and possibility moving through you. Yet we cannot access it when we feel separate from God or when we're operating from patterns, from habits that are rooted in trauma or wound or pain. So, invitation to open your mind and your heart to what are your big dreams in this life. Allow yourself to feel them, to envision them, to connect to the Spirit of God. You'll feel the Spirit of God in the form of love, faith, trust, and then allow that to animate your actions, the actions that you take day to day, aligning them with your prayers. First, you have to know, what are my prayers in this life? What do I desire? How do I want to show up in my friendships? How do I want to show up in my work? How do I want to show up in my romantic partnerships? What kind of mother, father do I want to be? What kind of daughter, son do I want to be? Get clear on that, animate it, give it life, feed life into it. Know that your consciousness and energy has power. So, what are you feeding? What are you thinking? Sometimes, when we're in these processes of transformation and we're growing and evolving, it can almost be like detective work where we are detecting, what are my unconscious limiting beliefs? What are my triggers? Maybe try journaling. I have a notes app on my iPhone where I have a trigger journal and a limiting beliefs journal. And anytime it comes up, I write it out to become conscious of it. And then I pray to God. I know that God loves me, God supports me. I am a beloved daughter of God. You are all the children of God. And not only that, you're also one with God. So pray, okay, I see this limiting belief. I see this pattern, this karma that I've been engaging in. So many of the things that we're engaging in, they're not even ours. They're from our ancestors, they're from our past lives. I think that humanity underestimates how impacted they are by their ancestors, by the collective, and then they think, oh, this is just how life is. This is how my relationship to money is. This is how my romantic relationships are. This is how my health is. Not knowing that the nature of life is change. So if you can wake up every morning, if you can bring in consciousness in every moment and think it is a new day, It is a new moment. I'm a child of God, supported by God. I hold divine creative energy within, and I'm going to direct this energy in the direction of my dreams to live the life of my dreams. What are my dreams? What are my prayers? Write those down. And a lot of it starts with not the external circumstances, but who you are and how you are. The prayer could be, I am a support to my community. I show up generously. I am loving. I'm forgiving. I'm compassionate. I also have strong and clear boundaries. I am no longer a people pleaser. I speak my truth. I speak my truth with love, with clarity. I am abundant. And then when you write out, bring it into your consciousness, your prayers, your dreams, you will be able to become aware of the unconscious things holding you back. And as you become aware of those unconscious things holding you back, you can start to like transmute them, work with them. There is far more possibility for each and every one of you than what collectively humanity realizes. Many are not playing in this field of creative possibility. Many are not in continuous conversation with God, our creator, who is also us. So I also want to invite you to develop that conversation. Like every day, have your conversations with the divine, with spirit, with source, whatever your word is for God, and pray. Connect, commune, receive guidance, pray to God to speak to you, to speak through you, to really animate your life. And as God animates your life more and more and more, you will feel like the creator of your life. And then you can have new experiences, experiences that you've never had before because you are co-creating with God. You're not co-creating with the traumas of your ancestors, the pain of your childhood, the limiting beliefs that you've internalized from the experiences of your childhood, your community. There are many, I speak about this often in my Akashic Records practitioner training, the currents that are moving through humanity, like the beliefs. They are an energy. And because at the end of the day, we're all one, they impact us. And the way to step into our greater potential as a creator is to be in continuous communication with God. There is no other way because without that connection to the divine, we will be swayed by these energetic currents that are currently so present within humanity. A lot of limiting beliefs everywhere we look, a lot of ideas around what is possible that are not reflective of God's truth. So, the invitation as you step into living the life that you are meant for and truly feeling loved by life. That's the retreat that Ave and I hosting. It's the loved by life, opening to how loved you are, loved by life. Love, operating from love, for love. Love is the ultimate transmutational force that forgives all and opens to what is possible, opens you to what you are so worthy and deserving of, and also has you operate in ways in all of your relations to offer life, what life is so worthy and deserving of, which is the best of you. You and your highest, you sharing your creative gifts, you feeling confident in your God-given gifts and sharing them. Many of us have also been conditioned to not value who we are and how God made us. And then we hold back our visibility, we hold back our voice, not recognizing the value that it has, the impact that it could have on the others if we opened to courageously share and to know that the energies that hold us back from sharing, from giving generously all that we are are energies that are not aligned with God's truth. And God's truth is that you were made perfectly. So the visions that you have for your life, like the dreams around the business that you want to create, all of those impulses are by divine design. You can trust them. And then as you start to take action in that direction, trust that God's got you. And with God, all things are possible. Truly, all things are possible. And it's normal and natural to have opposing beliefs and opposing energies at time that may have you want to hold back or be like, I'm not ready yet, but you are. Like if you've got God with you, which you always, always, always do, you are. And sometimes times of growth, of stepping into the new, they can be uncomfortable. So don't take the discomfort as a sign of don't do it or this isn't aligned. Get clear, write it out. What are my dreams? What are my desires? What are my prayers? Be in continuous communication with God, and then know that sometimes the steps you take in that direction are not going to be comfortable. Are they're not going to be comfortable because we have to face the parts of us that are afraid. We have to face our wounds. Sometimes we're creating something that is so different than what our ancestors have lived. I'm currently, and I'm sharing something personal because I feel like it could support all of you, is because everyone has their own kind of personal thing that they're moving through. Mine is that my ancestors have never had, at least my recent ancestors haven't had the type of divine union marriage that I am currently praying for. If that is something that hasn't existed in your ancestry, if you have past life traumas around loving and loving big, and there having been pain and hurt, then sometimes the steps in that direction can feel like crunchy and can feel intense because you're coming up against a lot of healing, a lot of releasing. And in order to move towards the future, sometimes we have to truly process the past. So I'm going to give another a personal example. I went through an experience of really deep grief related to romantic relationship that I knew was not mine for my current life story. Like nothing was happening in my life that would bring about such grief. I work with plant medicines. I went deep into the plant medicine world to access the collective consciousness, the Akashic Records, and I saw that it was the grief of my grandmother that she hadn't processed around her marriage. And then, because God is always speaking to us and dropping little hints, my mother told me on the phone randomly, your grandmother always told me never, ever, ever, ever to cry for a man. Never cry for a man. It's not worth it. So everything that she had repressed then had to find expression. At the end of the day, we're all one. So know that when you're moving into living the life of your dreams and creative possibilities, sometimes you do have to process the past. And as long as you have faith and you keep moving forward, then you can serve as this conduit of like transmutation of these old stories, these limitations, these wounds, so that you can step into this fresh, clean, new beginning of what is actually available to us. And I share that personal example with you so that you know that sometimes there are some crunchy moments like that are part of the process. Like if you're wanting to start your spiritual business, but you don't yet feel ready, and then there are all these thoughts of like, I'm not worthy, or this is going to be terrible, or maybe there's a past life that you need to heal around having been burned at the stake. Like all of that will need to be processed in order to open to what is coming, but God will orchestrate it all for you. I don't know why the message, because there's a part of me like my like fairy self is like, oh, it can all be so easy and light and like, yay, it's just like easy, like start now. But then this like, there's just a voice that's like, it's not always easy. Sorry, I wish it was. It's just not because humanity has gone through a lot and we've gone through a lot and our ancestors have gone through a lot. So sometimes things just it just keeps coming through that sometimes things need to be processed. So the more that you don't expect it to be easy, and the more that you can just have faith in the process and know that it'll be worth it, and you're heading in the direction of so much love and your dreams truly coming through, you have everything it takes, then the more equipped you will be moved through the moments where perhaps there is like a deep healing or a death occurring of a past story or energy that may have been in your field. Okay, yeah. What would you like to share?
Oh, I'm loving this so much, Daniela. And actually, I would love to throw it back to you because I would love to hear you connected this really powerfully when we were diving in yesterday around sacred creativity and what that looks like in terms of like being in a full-blown like the amount of creativity we have access to when we really are embodying our oneness with God. And I'm curious if you can speak to that.
The sacred creativity that becomes available to us.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm. What comes through is with God, all things are possible. With God, we have access to an infinite source of love. So, no matter what we may be going through, if our human mind is coming up against limiting beliefs, ideas of unworthiness, ideas of I can't do it, perhaps deep pain, that connection to God brings in the love. The connection to God brings in the peace. And then we can hold everything in a field of love, in a field of peace, in a field of knowing that we are whole exactly as we are, that there's nothing actually lacking or missing. Often, when people feel like they're not ready or they're not good enough, it is that disconnection from God. As soon as you connect to God, it's like, oh, everything that I need is here. And I don't have to have it all planned out. I don't need to have the perfect strategy. I don't need to be perfect because I am made in the image of God. God created me. Therefore, I am perfect in my imperfections. I am perfect in my flaws. I am perfect in my limitations. And it then that the inherent human experience of being flawed, limited, imperfect doesn't stop us. It's like we get to move forward with that. We get to live the life of our dreams of so much love and possibility with the rest of who we are, remembering who our creator is, God. With the connection to God, like I feel let me see how I can put words to this. It's like it's a strong energetic current that moves things. So if there are emotions, for example, that keep us from moving forward, with the connection to God, those emotions get to be brought into the light of consciousness. And then we can integrate what those emotions are teaching us and move through, like move that emotional current, knowing that the emotions are meant to be like water, they flow and they're teachers and they bring wisdom. But sometimes when we're not connected to God, the emotion can feel way too overwhelming. We can resist it, and then we might go into distracting ourselves, numbing ourselves, and that can derail us from, okay, here's the path towards our dreams, but now I'm trying to like resist, numb, distract myself from this emotion. I'm heading in this direction. That's not the path. The path towards my dreams is this. With God, we can like we can hold anything because we feel held. And then the big emotions that come up, we can embrace them and learn from them, which is why they're coming up. When we're connected to God, we also will be aware of stories that we have or thoughts that we have, but we won't make them true or real because so much of what we think is not inherently true or real. So God reminds us of what is true and real. That way we can think things and have thoughts and have perspectives, but also know, okay, there is a greater truth and God will reveal that. And this is really essential in order to co create in this life. Otherwise, our ego might start to lead the way. And when the ego is leading the way, the ego gets convinced of all sorts of stories and realities. And this is how things are. And it can trump us. Ego can create battle with like life, battle with ourselves, battle with others. Co-creation actually requires a spirit of unity. We need to be in union with life around us as it is arising. If we're resisting it, fighting it, we are like closing that creative channel. because now our energy is going towards resisting, fighting. From the perspective of God, everything exists to serve us in some way. It's all a part of the whole. And we create with the whole because we create with God and we create with all that is. Is there anything you want to share, love? Thank you for the question.
Loved that. I loved that. We create with the whole, and the whole is always serving us, which includes the moments, the situations we do and don't prefer. Um, I love that. And that is how, yeah, our sacred creativity is really born, is when we are really operating from that sense of unity with truly all that is, which includes the things that can feel crunchy, that we aren't wanting, not expecting, that feel like obstacles. Um, I love that, Daniela. Thank you, Boo. Um, Thank you. That was great. That was definitely moving a lot on my end. So, this is such a special topic. I feel so, I just want to say, it feels so special because it's truly something, it's something that actually unites Daniela and I on a very powerful united front, is our firm, unwavering belief that we are utterly loved by life, and that rooted knowing that we are inherently loved by life is the very attunement that allows us to live the life that we are meant for. And it's a returning anchor. I know for Danielle and I, for all the beautiful people in our community, certainly resonate with this. And there's a few things that were coming in today that I was really excited to speak to, very much connected to, how Daniela opened this space with the how living a life that we are truly meant for means living a life that is in co-creation with God, right? Because God, when we are in co-creation with God, we are in co-creation with pure possibility, which is so far beyond any it's far beyond our imagination. And really, life is wanting to delight us far beyond our dream desires, right? And one of the really powerful, I want to say, driving forces is what it feels like. One of the driving forces when it comes to creating and living, breathing a life that we are meant to live for us on a just like who we are, who is that is specific to our soul blueprint, includes the very real embodied energy of boldness. And I want to speak to this because this has been coming up a lot in the field, in my own field, the field of my clients, my community, and it was coming up again for this call. And I want to speak to the energy of boldness and how it pertains to living the life that we are meant for. Because I feel like being bold has a certain flavor on the spectrum of boldness. And I want to speak to the full spectrum of it. So typically when we are thinking of being bold, we're thinking about like, speaking up, right? Using our voice, like saying yes to a big opportunity even when we don't feel ready. It's a lot of that fire energy, right? Which is great. That is yes. Yes to all of that. Yes, that is part of the spectrum of boldness that I want to speak to, and but it's not the fullness of it here. And and I want to speak to the fullness of it because when we are really sharpening our ability to discern what is our truth and what is really available to us in this now moment and boldly tune into it, right? There's like, if we imagine our like bubble of safety that we have created, that we operate our identity in, right? It's like within these parameters, Avea feels safe to be who she is. Great. We're looking to expand those boundaries that we've created in our sense of safety through the energy of being bold. And when I speak of being bold here, I want to speak to the energy of discernment, of sharp discernment in what is possible. And my invitation here for you all is to really to relate to the energy of boldness in a sharp attunement to what is possible. It's such a powerful energy to tune into because boldness to me is also synonymous to truth. Truth meaning what is possible here. Truth meaning I am one with creation. Therefore, I am one with all that is, and I have the infinite power and potential to create, recreate myself over and over again and my reality. And so boldness isn't just about saying yes to the big things. It is about that, to the big and scary things, but it's also about being able to be bold and saying no to things with no explanation, without needing to explain. That's also a flavor of boldness. Being bold is just as much being willing to be the first who speaks up in a room when it's like really scary and like your heart is pounding and you're like, wait, do I want to be the first one or don't I? And it's like you're like feeling that edge, that like it's like, oh, your body's like tingling and you're like, fuck it, I'm going for it, right? Boldness is both that version and it's also the version of you who's in that same room who is bold enough to be like, I actually don't need to speak in this moment. And that feels like the bold move. Let me know how this is landing for you guys, by the way, in the chat. I would love to hear. And I would love to hear if you want to pop this in the chat, because I love a good like interactive room. I would love to hear where is your where are you being called forth in a bolder expression of yourself? And really tune into the full spectrum of boldness because boldness, as we said, can look like making the big move, saying yes to the big scary thing, but it can also be being bold in recognizing that we are in a season of that is asking us to go inwards, to unplug. I want to give an example here that feels really relevant in my own life. My father passed away last year, and one of the boldest things that I did for myself was to be bold as fuck in my grief and in my level of self-love. And I actively, boldly chose to take almost 6 months off from just being active, engaging in my service, my work. And I just want you to feel for a moment how that has, it's a bold move, as a business owner, as someone who's, usually running a bunch of different things at the same time. And so I share that to also inspire wherever there might be bold moves to perhaps pull the plug on something that just isn't aligned, because that's also how the life that we are truly meant for comes in, is by being willing to either pull the plug on something, to burn some bridges, to be able to make choices that can potentially disappoint people that we love and still choose to make that choice so that we don't abandon or disappoint ourselves. And that's a big one. That's a big one. And so I throw this question back at you so we can feel into things, get our own, get our own lives and fine tune our boldness, our truth, our discernment in what is truly available to us here. And I invite you to really feel into, where might you be holding back out of a fear, holding back some of that bolder energy, and I'm saying, I'm embodying the bigger boulder, but there's a quiet bold as well. And the quiet bold is like, what I named earlier, where I was like, I'm radically going to take 6 months off to radically love myself because this is what I need right now after my father passed away. And so I really, really invite you to tune in to where is that space, right? Between the the boundaries of where your current identity feels safe in operating, and where is there a bolder move, expression of yourself, choice that you already know right here, right now. You already know it. It's like as I'm speaking, you're like, I feel it over here. There's a ping over there. Over here in my life needs a little cleanup. And I invite you to the thing about the bold energy, it's also, bringing back to what Daniela shared here, it's also about bringing God in to that space. We're talking about, right here is like where we currently feel safe when we're expanding to experience more of who we already are. By the way, this isn't like some grand becoming that is outside of ourselves. It's truly a an embodying of who we already are. And because we are one with spirit, we are one with God, we are also infinite. We are infinite living, breathing potential. So it's tuning in, it's expanding our container of safety in using the it is such a powerful force. It's using the force field of boldness to expand the container of our current identity in which we feel safe, and the way that we support our nervous system in expanding its sense of safety. Because obviously if we're operating within here and we're trying to operate from here, there's a reason why we haven't been leaning in more boldly in that direction. And it's simple. There's fear, there's a fear of there's not our nervous system simply doesn't feel safe there. And so this is where, I want to bring back what Daniela shared here, that relationship, the relationship we have to God, to the divine, when we are leaning in to a bolder move, whether it's saying yes to like an opportunity to collaborate or just something that we don't fully feel ready for, but that could literally shift the entire timeline of our life. I've had several moments like that in my life where had I not boldly, oh my goodness, said yes to something that was so beyond terrifying to me, so life altering, like completely like moving myself, my life, everything to completely different country, didn't know anyone, all the things. These are the types of things that completely shifted the course of my life, and arguably is continuously allowing me to attune to the life that's meant for me. And so I invite you to tune in to where you already have a very clear knowing, whether it's in relationships, in friendships, community, family, partnership, in your service, your purpose, your work, your leadership? Where is there already here and now a bolder expression of yourself? What does that look like on the full spectrum of boldness? Is it because it's not boldness is not necessarily loud. You can be boldly soft in a moment that calls for it. If you've ever been in an intense moment with someone who is very charged and going through a really deep trigger, sometimes being boldly compassionate and boldly loving and soft is the exact environment to support someone in softening their own fields. Just tuning into the chat here. Hmm. Amazing. Yes, quitting my job and to finally step into my own power. But to do that is a big step. Yes, it is. It's bold. That's the energy, right? The energy of the life that we are meant to live is a bold energy. I want to add to this. I want to add into the mix I want to say they go together. Boldness and audacity is to me they go hand in hand. And, again, I invite you to tune in to where you can be more audacious in your life. To where, and I want to speak to it's like almost like the places that kind of go under the radar. Because I feel like the ones that are more obvious, like the audacious moves, whether it's leaving a job that you're meant to leave. Like there's just another life, another reality that's available to you. Those flavors are more common. I want to once again kind of expand that spectrum to invite even more of the life that you are meant for by inviting you to tune in to where is it that you can love even more audaciously? What does the expression of your love that feels bolder, more audacious in its expression, in its fullness, in what it gives, and also how it receives? How audacious can you be in your ability to receive how deeply loved you are by life? How audacious can you be in loving the people that you already love, loving the life that you have already created? How much more audacious can you be in the receiving, in the expression of that love? And I guarantee that the more you expand in that audacity, the more you receive more, the more that you receive, even more of those energies, even more aligned divine synchronicities that just come through. It's like, whoa, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know like this was possible. Audacity also feels like it's like I want to add another little puzzle piece. In order to tune in and to embody and embrace the energy of audacity, we also need to embrace giving ourselves permission. It's a huge piece. And, I loved what Daniela was sharing, around we're both one with creation. We are literally of God, made of the fabric of God. And we're also human and flawed. We're not perfect and we mess up and we stumble on our face and we forget lyrics on stage. That happened to me. It was very scary if you are an artist. Scary moment. I've forgotten dance moves. I've all kinds of things. We are we are walking paradoxes. And that energy of union that Daniela was speaking to, the highest potency of our audacity lives in the union point, in the permission slip to both be in our God-given creator expression of ourselves, knowing we are infinite potential and pure possibility, and simultaneously being in the audacious energy of being wildly unapologetically human and flawed and vulnerable. That union point, and this is, to me is the God point. Union point is where the life that we are meant to live is like you are fucking riding that wave. It isn't about being audacious and bold and, going for all the things and like being in that like performer mode and like, I gotta get it right. It's like, it's both being in the, I know I'm God. I know that these desires that I have are divine information letting me know what's not just possible, like what's actually here and now, what's available right here, right now. And simultaneously, being willing to be fully audaciously human in it, to mess up, to fuck up, to give yourself permission to both be God and human, very audaciously. So again, I throw this invitation to you to tune in to where is it in your field where you are being called forth in greater audacity, greater permission to to anchor into the truth of your oneness with God, as well as anchor into the truth of your delightful humanity. Because let's face it, it's really fun being human, guys. Like, it's just fun. Like, wouldn't it just suck if we like were already like just purely perfect, just like all these like floaty angelic beings? I feel like that our version of us already exists. Like, we came here for the grit. We came here for the journey. We came here to fall on our faces and then realize, wow, that did not, I'm still alive. The thing I was so afraid of that happened. It happened. I did not die. Nobody hates me. It's fine. I'm here. That is such a precious life-altering experience. And often it's one that when we are really devoted to living the life we're meant for, we try and avoid, right? Those moments. We try and avoid, oh my God, this would be the worst thing ever if fill in the blank, If I launch this retreat and no one shows up, no one signs up, what am I making that mean about myself? And then it happens and you're like, wow, I didn't die. I'm still me, still a woman of service. I can plan another one. And like all the things that I thought my ego was going to, just like die a slow, painful death, it didn't happen. And so embrace those moments, embrace your humanity as much as you embrace your God self, because it really is, it makes this journey exciting, to be really honest. It makes it really, really sweet. And just like full of twists and turns. I feel if there's anything. Babe, do you have anything you want to add to here? I'm gonna tune in also, but yeah.
This is amazing. Thank you, love. I was I was feeling into the group and I want to invite everyone, like when you tune into the life you feel you're meant for, your big dreams, your desires, if something comes up like, oh, I would love to quit my job, but there are fears holding you back. It feels impossible. Journal them. Write out all the fears that hold you back. Write out all the thoughts that hold you back. Really drop into a deep state of meditation where you are accessing even your subconscious thoughts and write them all out. Start to shake up the energy, bring consciousness to those thoughts and fears. Don't hide from them, don't avoid them, bring them up, journal them, write them out. And then once you're complete with writing it all out, like really looking at all of it, like shaking the energy up, start to write what is possible. What is the opposite of that fear? Like, I quit my job. I might fail at this new business endeavor. I might accrue tons of debt. I might have to sell my home. Like, what are the fears? Write it all out and then write what is possible. Journal about it. Journal about it daily. Envision it. Imagine it. That's how you start to make it feel real for yourself. Sometimes the body needs the safety of feeling this is real. And our imagination is really powerful. Everything that we're currently experiencing is God's imagination. Remind yourself, my imagination is power. I am now creating the physiology associated with this dream, with this possibility. And as you do that, you may find it is easier for you to take steps in that direction. And then the fears, the thoughts of like, this might fail or I can't do this, it doesn't have as much power. But really do the work. Like I want to invite everyone to actually journal and then actually envision and cultivate the physiology related with your dreams and desires. Hmm.
I love that, babe. Yes. Yes to, again, I feel like you're speaking to that union point. It's like whatever is happening within us that could be holding back more of that audacity, that boldness, those permission slips, moving that energy is so powerful. And I would even say to a really super simple way to create almost like a container to move that energy is to choose whether it's corner in your room, in your home. For me, it's like I have this spot that I go to just nearby my home. There's the canyon behind and then the ocean in front. And I always sit on the exact same rock and I bring the exact same pillow to sit because I want my little bum to be comfortable when I'm sitting on there. And I bring the same pen, the same journal. And to me, that is my signal to God, Spirit, my whole sky squad, Spirit team. Hey, I'm ready to connect. So set your space up in an intentional way, whether it's certain, a pillow, a pen, a certain thing, or a specific spot. I also have a spot right in front of my fireplace. That's another spot if I don't feel like going outside. But there is something about creating that energetic container and environment that signals, it literally sends the signal to your body, your spirit, to the whole team that's always there. But it's like, oh, hey, I mean business right now. Like we're moving energy and I am opening to receive. And journaling to me is one of the most powerful, easiest ways. I can't even tell you how many times I'm just like free writing. I'm like, oh my God, this is how I feel. This feels so dramatic, like all the things. And then it's like you keep writing and you're just like, wait, like none of this actually feels true. Like it doesn't even feel true. Or there's just intuitive information that starts to drop in. But ask. You know, that's another really powerful is literally ask if you're at a crossroads and you're like, wow, I know that the bolder, more audacious move is XYZ, or that I need to burn this bridge, or that, you know, I need to boldly say no to this or boldly say yes, and I'm having trouble. Ask, like be in the open space and ask, give permission for divine intervention. God, support me in moving towards this path that I know is already available to me. Support me in moving whatever energies, whatever no longer serves me. Support me in moving it through in whatever way is easiest, simplest for me. I give you full permission for divine intervention to support me in this. I'm feeling challenged here. And don't be surprised. By the way, I've done this so many times. I also just want to throw out there. Don't be surprised if sometimes it gets a little crunchier before it gets smoother. Because sometimes it's like, wow, okay, cool. She's asking for divine intervention. We got you, boo. And sometimes the we got you, boo comes into like, oh my God, this emotional storm of like releasing ancestral wounds around maybe it's relationships, money, visibility. Like it can come, but that's the thing is when we are attuned and we're in the unity, the field of unity, we are also in the knowing that holy shit storm, this is intense and I'm clearing, right? I'm clearing because I asked for this. If this is happening, if I asked for support and this is happening, it is happening because it is clearing big time. So, yeah, just wanted to throw those that out there. Babe, did you have anything else you want to share? I have like a last little snippet that wants to come through, but yeah.
Yeah, I think a last little snippet for me too, which is that the tendency of the human mind is to operate in ways to like resist potential failure or resist potential pain, resist like potential disaster and to like do everything possible to not live that. But when you can't be like resisting the potential pain or the potential disaster and be operating with God. We need to open to what is possible and then give that more energy. And when we are creating from God and with God, it's all about the possibility versus the avoidance or resistance to what could go wrong. So I think I'm sharing this so that you can bring consciousness to where you might be afraid of taking an action, like, for example, quitting a job, even though your intuition is telling you to, because you are afraid of what the potential outcome may be. As you call God in and then do this journaling practice of writing out the fears and also what is possible, you can start to operate more with God to create the life that you're meant for.
I love that. Yeah, it's feeling very full circle. So, you know, on that note, I'd love to invite us all, since we're all here with the common intention to live the life that we are meant for, um, to journal. This evening, tomorrow morning, whenever feels aligned for you, and tune in to what are some bold, audacious truths that are already in your field. Those kinds of truths are already alive. Like that, it's not like, let me go looking for them. It's like, no, they're already there. And and ask yourself, what would my most bold, audacious, and God trusting version of myself choose? What would they choose? What direction would they move in? Would that version of you move in? If you knew, which you do, that God is on your side, that God is one with you. What choices would you make differently right now? Right now. Not in like, there's some choices that are, they might be down the line, but there are many available right now. And we're all here to amplify and activate this energy together right now. So journal about what those are and boldly, audaciously move in that direction while also embracing the delicious array of human possibilities that can happen, knowing that, what Daniela was speaking to around the moving, like not wanting the worst case scenario to happen and XYZ, knowing that when our worst case scenario happens, it actually is the greatest portal into building a sense of resilience and a like wildly bigger relationship and rooting of trust in God. That's what those moments are for. It really is. And there is a level of like you go through enough moments like that you think are going to destroy you, that you think like, oh, but what if I launch this business? What if I launch this offering and then, worst case scenario, no one signs up or I decide that it's not a right fit. Great. Fabulous. Let that be a stepping stone. Let that no longer be a potential worst case scenario that somehow is holding you back. Those portals are some of the biggest liberations, the greatest services that our whole spirit team is like, we fucking got you. And sometimes you just need to pass through it. And the version of you who's on the other side, please believe that he is even more trusting, even more anchored in your boldness, your audacity, giving yourself permission, because there is no other way. Truly, when we are devoted to living the life we're meant for, there is no other way. What's the other option? You're gonna give up? Like, if you're in this room, you're not gonna give up. Like, it's just that simple. If you're in this room with us, you've already decided that that's not an option. So feel into that, tune in, connect with God, with yourself, your human self, and really be radically honest with yourself as to what are choices, decisions, moves, directions, people you can reach out to, conversations that you can have in different relationships. Maybe there's some mending there that needs to happen, or perhaps some expansion, or perhaps some boundary setting. But tune into what is literally available right here, right now, that has the power, the potential to really expand in a big way your current life that you are already living and meant for, and just simply accessing more of what's available, more of what's here right now, more of who you already are.
Mm.
Mm. Babe, do you have anything else on that note?
I feel like that's the perfect place to close for today.
Mm, amazing. Um, well, thank you all for being present. This was a really
Mm.
powerful first day. Um, Daniela and I would also love to share. We're going to put all our information because I know some of you are coming from my community, others from Daniela's. In the email, I'll share both of our details there so you can connect with us on Instagram, on our websites, all the things. Daniela and I are also hosting our Loved by Life retreat. This is our signature retreat that we host together. This edition of Loved by Life is going to be in Peru on April 4th to the 11th. Just tune into those dates, by the way. They're very intentional. April 4th to the 11th. Hashtag new beginnings. Okay, just putting it out there. um, April 4th to the 11th in the Sacred Valley of Peru. This is a plant medicine retreat. We are going to be doing Wachuma. It is led by quite literally, the only person on this planet that I trust to lead this kind of ceremony. It's my bestie. Um, and she led my own personal ceremony actually after my father passed away. And that was, for me, that was beyond life changing. And it's what really allowed me to come back home to myself and come home to my forever connection with him. And so this retreat that we are inviting you into is definitely it's a life altering experience. Daniela, do you want to speak to it a bit?
Sure. There are two practices that have truly, in a tangible, real way, supported me in accelerated healing and growing closer to God and living the life that I love. And those are one, the Akashic Records, and two, plant medicines. Plant medicines are an amazing way to move beyond the ego and to truly see yourself in all the ways you've been limiting yourself. Plant medicines also help you really understand God's love and possibility in an embodied, like felt in this life way. So I personally work with and serve Wachuma, and Wachuma is known to be a heart opening plant that connects you to Pachamama and connects you to the divine. It brings a lot of clarity. It helps you see life through a new lens. And yeah, I mean these practices they work, and I'm really share them with those of you who feel called to learn how to access the Akashic Records yourself and channel this higher insight and guidance for yourself, or work with Wachuma that can be so incredibly heart opening, consciousness expanding. It really helps you access states of consciousness that we wouldn't access in our everyday life. It's a really powerful, really powerful and beautiful plant ally that I have all over my home. Yeah, I would just love to welcome you if you feel the call. Thank you, Avaya.
Babe, can you speak to, because I feel like one thing that really drew me specifically to Wachuma, obviously, like there's you, and there's also the fact that it's very gentle, right? Because I feel like a lot of people who haven't done plant medicine, it can be like a scary thing to be like, oh my God, like is this just the biggest fucking like death experience of my life? I'd love it if you could speak to the gentle nature of it and how we're actually hiking, right? The whole time. It's a
Yeah.
very conscious aware. I'd love it if you could speak into that.
Wachuma is known to be a gentle, patient, kind, and loving plant teacher. Wachuma is so grounding and grounded that the ceremonies are done on these nearby mountains, really close to where I live. And we are going to be praying together and singing together. So, with Wachuma, you're not necessarily leaving your body or leaving this realm. You are in your body. It's Wachuma is actually known by some to be the medicine of integration. It's more easily integratable. You're in the body, you're able to hike, you're able to sing. I know that that can be a fear that people sometimes have about plant medicines, the ego death that can occur in the realms that it can take you to. Wachuma is more a medicine that connects you to Pachamama, and it opens up the spirit of clarity in your own life where you can see yourself and your life clearly. It's very heart opening. It's also known to be very physically healing. It connects you to Pachamama, to the earth. It truly is a more grounding experience. Yeah. Thank you, love.
Mm. It truly, truly is. Just beautiful, gentle, loving. Um, and on top of that, that is the focal point of our retreat together. And of course, being in the field of Daniela and I is has been described by many, including some people here who have actually been to our a previous Loved by Life retreat who are here online with us live. We've often been described as a powerhouse of a duo because of, well, one, the immensity of the love we have for each other. Um, and two, the amplification of the codes, the heart realms that we both share. It is a very powerful field to be immersed in. And then on top of that, having the Apus, the mountains, Pachamama, the plant medicine, doing the much bigger holding, let's just face it. But it is a really powerful force field. And honestly, anything that Danielle and I create is something that I wholeheartedly know already the level of transformation that comes through. It's truly an honor every time we get to create together. We're always co-creating together. So yeah, that is your invitation. Ooh, and yes, so everyone who is here attending this live, we have a special little offer if you guys do want to join. Right now, basically you get it at a discounted price if you want a single occupancy, sorry, double occupancy. Um, you can join for 3,333 paid in full. Double occupancy. Or if you would prefer a single room, it we're doing a reduced price for this group here for 3,997. And again, only for this group, we are also offering the possibility if you register before December 8th to be on an extended payment plan, if that really helps you. So we can do up to 10 months of a payment plan for the full amount. And if you register by December 8th, and December 8th really just means what that means is submit your application. So there is an application form to make sure that this is really aligned. The group that we have, there's already registered participants. It's very curated. So this is a very intentional retreat. So as long as you get your application in by December 8th, you can benefit from that. And yeah, and probably like a deposit. Yeah, something like that. So if you have any questions, reach out to either of us via email, Instagram, wherever floats your boat. And yeah, otherwise, we will see you tomorrow for day two. This was so potent, you guys. I can't wait to rewatch this myself. This was so potent. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for showing your face. I just saw another person pop on here showing us their beautiful face. Hi, Heather. Appreciate everyone that was here. Thank you for sharing your energy, for co-creating this with us. Tomorrow we'll have another deep dive transmission, and then Thursday will be just an open Q&A where we can deep dive into some really potent, powerful questions together. So thank you all for being here. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Love you all so much. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Mhm.
Bye. Aw.